evening, everyone. We are ready to commence the program. I would request everyone to have their seats. I welcome all of you to this event presented by IIT Madras Alumni Association. I would request dignitaries to occupy the seats on the dais. Mr. Ashok Jhunjhunwala. Sit on the stage. Mr. Lakshmi Narayanan, Mr. Venkatraman Ravi, Mr. Suresh Kalpati, and Mr. Mohan Narayanan.
Nobody.
I would now request Mr. Mohan Narayanan to address the gathering and give away the welcome address. He's an IIT 1982 batch alumni and is currently the treasurer of Iitmaa'S.
Good evening. It gives me a great pleasure on behalf of the President and the rest of the office bearers of the IIT Madras Alumni Association to welcome you to what promises to be a very exciting evening, I'm sure. The topic, as you can read, is about the new gold rush and how the ecosystem currently will assist that. And we are going to get experts, experienced entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who are setting up, and students who want to become entrepreneurs in the future, and also set up people who want to just understand what entrepreneurship is all about. So for all these groups, I do believe we will have a fantastic session today. We have a great set of speakers lined up for you, and I welcome all of you to this gathering. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the dignitaries on the dais, very successful entrepreneurs, all of them in their own capacity. Professor Jhunjhunwala, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan, Mr. Kalpati Suresh, and I'm sure that this session will promise to hold out fantastic messages for all of you. So without any more ado, I would request Ravi Venkatraman, the president of the IIT Madras Mentoring Association, who actually scripted this plan together, to come up and take on the proceedings, to introduce the event for you, to set the context, to introduce the speakers, and set the floor for the rest of the evening. Ravi?
Good evening, everybody. I am Ravi Venkatraman from 71 batch, and currently the chairman for the mentoring program. We started the mentoring program from last year, for the IIT students. It had a fantastic response. So based upon the response, this year we thought that we will get it extended to also the IIT alumni. Within alumni, we said first we shall focus on the alumni entrepreneurs who really felt there's a need for mentoring. So with this in view, we just thought we will have a joint program along with TIE, who is an organization which is basically mentoring entrepreneurs all over the world. The program today has two sessions. First is we have these eminent people here. I just will come to them in a minute. So we shall request them to in fact talk and about their own, of course, areas, and briefly for about 20 minutes. This will take about 40 or 45 minutes. Then we'll have a brief question answers. After this, we have a session where we invited 6 people from various areas, from venture capital and from IIT Madras, and also an entrepreneur from TIE. And these people will come and form up a panel, and they will share their experience with you, exactly what is now the ecosystem for entrepreneurship, what we can expect from IIT Madras, what we can expect from TIE, and how do we leverage, in fact, all these things. First, we have Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala. Well, I don't think he needs any introduction. He's an outstanding academician, and he's a great innovative R&D guy. He has discovered so many things in the networking area. Also, he has commercialized all these things. I think one of the few people in the country who is an academician who also could commercialize all these things. because he has been making use of technology, low-cost technology, of course, networking, and also he has come out with ATMs, which could be low-cost ATMs, which are costing only 50 or 1 lakh rupees, could be used in the Indian rural areas. And he is also one of the main person behind the IIT Research Park. I think this is the first research park in the country, and now the government would like to set up 100 more research parks in the country. I would like to know how professor is able to do so many things within the given time slot of only 8 hours or 16 hours, whatever it is. I would like him to, and come and tell us that. Well, Professor, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It's good to talk to lots of youngsters out here, but some very seasoned entrepreneurs. So when I was sent this invitation, I think 3 days back, I saw the title, The New Gold Rush. My first reaction was, I don't want to have anything to do with it. Then I saw the program a little bit more, and I said, well, maybe it is in IIT Madras, ICNSR, might as well find some time. Many people think entrepreneurship is about gold rush. There is that underlying theme, and as long as it's underlying theme somewhere deep, it is fine. But one of the things of my experience over the last 20 years or so, that those who have got in thinking that entrepreneurship is a gold rush, is a something that you can get immense success in relatively short term, that it is interesting and not routine, generally are disappointed. The fact that it is interesting and not routine is very much correct. But the rest, I'm very uncertain about. Entrepreneurs, if they have to succeed, they have to work harder than, or even if they fail, they have to work harder than any other people. It's a lot of very hard work. Long hours with practically no reward for long time. I think entrepreneurship is more of a perseverance test. If you are, of course, you need to be bright, you need to be committed, but I think if you are willing to work hard, keep on learning, and with relatively little rewards for a long period of time, the chances that you succeed will be much higher. So from that point of view, treating this as a gold rush is very dangerous. I've seen many people getting into it, starry-eyed. Want to build a Facebook from India. Now, it's great to have that dream that I want to build a Facebook from India. We should. But that it can happen just like that is something that I find that is what causes a huge problems. Companies after companies I've seen, the ones which have succeeded are the ones in which people have just not given up in spite of multiple failures. That's another very important thing. Our culture doesn't teach our youngsters, particularly the upper middle class youngsters that we deal with, that there are multiple failures on your way to success. The failures are often looked as a black mark. You are scared of failures. You are afraid of failures. And I think it's one of the big weakness that goes against any kind of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs have to fail. And they have to fail again, and they have to fail again. and then only they will succeed. The perseverance of just sticking on, going on, learning at every stage, getting up next morning and sort of say, well, I'll have to do things, I have to do things, I have to win. It is not just blind doing things, you need to continuously learn at every stage, keep on thinking new, come with very innovative ideas, come with innovative ways of doing things. The second misconception that I often find amongst youngsters, that the entrepreneurship is all about technology. The technology is a very important component which can help you in your journey to be a successful entrepreneur. But technology is one important element. Finally, I think one must understand that entrepreneurship is all about business. You must succeed in business. And very often, people don't understand that. Our youngsters do not understand that. It is a business which the success finally has to come from business. You have to make real profits. And sooner you make real profits, better the situation you are in. Very often people sort of say, well, I can get some money from this investor or that investor, and I keep on burning money. That if it is taken too far, if your mindset is not that I need to get out of that situation, you often land up into problems. So it's a driving business. Driving business is the key. I have often found in people who have entered and tried to become entrepreneurs sort of say, but what could I do? The environment was such. I think the entrepreneurs, when they get into the business, have to strike out this term, but what could I do? Well, you have to manage the environment. You have to understand the environment, manage the environment, and win in the environment. The environment is not going to change for you. You are going to work in the existing environment with all the difficulties, all the problems. And you need to understand it. Sooner you understand it, better you are in. And you need to manage that environment. You need to manage change. You need to manage that environment. And you can't ever ask the question, but what can I do? If you are asking, but what could I do, that means you are not a leader, not an entrepreneur. That's the end of it. That's where the problem comes. Beyond that, what is it? Well, I think one thing that I can say, that entrepreneurs, once they get over this initial hiccup, that it is going to be hard work, perseverance, failures, and multiple failures before you move on, manage the environment, can't depend on things changing, but you have to change things. Once they learn that, it is extremely, extremely satisfying enterprise, satisfying career. It's extremely satisfying. It's something that you are building, something that you are creating, something that you are driving. That satisfaction one can never get when one is just taking up a job. That you can be creative, that you can try new ideas, you can think of new things, you can feel satisfied. Once you get over that situation, the kind of satisfaction that you get is so immense that it's well worth it. And with that satisfaction will also come some gold. And in fact, particularly in recent times, it does come with significant amount of gold. But remember, even while you are having that great satisfaction and doing very creative things and feeling very positive, even then you have to work very hard. You have to still manage the environment. Still cannot ask the question, but what can I do? Still cannot be prepared for failures. That does not change. Throughout your entrepreneurial journey, it never ends. If you think that it has ended and now you have succeeded and now you can rest, well, from there onwards the decline comes. I'm very glad that IIT Madras Alumni Association are taking these initiatives to bring both alumni and students together and entrepreneurs together in trying to create a bigger and bigger, better and better environment for this. This is extremely critical for India because the kind of institute that we are in, a technology institute, this enables us to take whatever we have learned, the technology that we have created, the R&D that we do, convert that into commercial products for the good of the people and the country. I think I want to make it a last point that if you link your enterprise to some need of a society, some goal of a nation, then your ability to succeed, particularly if you have the rest of the quality, improves very significantly because you have basically a certain market that you can aim for. There is a need for that. It can make a difference, and that making a difference can make a huge, is a key thing, that if that is driving you, it gives you immense amount of energy to face all other challenges. I'll give you an example. One of the biggest problem of country today, and there are many problems, but one of the biggest problems is power. I think we had a power cut in IIT from 4 to 6, and we are starting to have that almost every day. I don't know, but today at least we saw that. Now this is happening in IIT, many places today in the newspaper, 10 to 12 hours. And this is not Tamil Nadu alone, around the country. Even before the summer months, you're starting to get power cuts there is a very serious power shortage. And I think this in itself creates a huge opportunity. I don't know how many of you know that solar photovoltaic prices have fallen down by a factor of 4 in the last 2 years. If you take solar photovoltaics and start trying to produce power and use it creatively, it gives you so much opportunity today to not just build successful enterprise, but also transform the country. My feeling is in next 15 years, India will move towards, with the right entrepreneurship, right kind of technology development, that in next 15 years, India will get 50% of its energy from solar power. Now, something like that opens up such large amount of opportunities. Finally, entrepreneurship is also about cashing opportunities. So if you link your opportunity to the rest of the things that I said, there is no reason why one won't succeed. Well, that's all that I want to sort of say. I'm very glad to inaugurate this session and hand over back to you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Professor, and thanks for that observation about the solar energy. I think would be a great thing for many of the people sitting here, many of these young engineers who are going to pass out soon. Now we have a second on the list is Lakshmi Narayanan, who is the Vice Chairman of Cognizant Technologies, and he is going to deliver the keynote address. I'm sure many of you may be aware that Lakshmi Narayanan is a product of TCS, where he was mentored by Mr. F.C. Kohli, who is the father of Indian IT industry. And he has grown Cognizant Technology from $1.5 million to $6 billion within 15 years. He has scaled it by almost about, I don't know how many times. And the company is still growing. Currently it is number 3, of course, in the country. Probably next year it will go to number 2. I don't know when it will become number 1. You need to ask him that question. And Lakshmi Narayanan is the past president of NASSCOM. He is also now the president of Amin Thai and helping out all the young entrepreneurs, in fact, building their own ventures. Sir, would you like to, in fact, tell us how do you scale up the organization? The way in which you have done is unbelievable.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for that introduction. Very happy to be here. Distinguished panelists, speakers. I'm here on behalf of Thai Chennai, Thai Indus entrepreneurs, not on behalf of Cognizant. So I'll hold the Cognizant story to some other time. I'll continue where Professor Ashok Junjunwala left, or maybe begin with where he started, with a contrarian idea. It is about gold. It is about that gold rush. We have to chase that. I don't think he meant that we shouldn't chase that, but he paraphrased it in a different manner. We look at why it is important to chase that gold rush. And the title apparently was coined. I learned that recently there was a seminar or interaction when Ram Shriram was here. Ram Shriram, Sharpala Ventures, famous for being one of the earliest person who funded Google. So he was saying the future is in developing apps for smart devices. The smart devices are outnumbering laptops, PCs, and other erstwhile highly used devices. More and more apps are coming about. You will see apps everywhere. Browser-based development applications in the enterprise space will gradually come down. More and more apps will get developed. And unfortunately, I was in a session with him. He said people like Lakshmi Narayan take students from universities and IITs and make them enterprise system programmers and developers, whereas that's not the category of people that we need for the future. The category of people that we need is people who can work in the area of mobility, develop apps a dozen, etc., etc. So he concluded by saying, I've got a lot of money to fund apps development. That's the new gold rush, and he encouraged as many people to participate in the new gold rush as possible. Okay. Factually, he's absolutely right. If you look at the number of apps that have been developed, there are something like 500,000 apps that are already available that can be bought either from an iStore developed for the iOS operating system or Android market or the OV store of Nokia. Tremendous number of applications that keep coming in every day. 500,000 apps. Not all of them are as successful as some of the major ones. But even if you imagine that there is a team of about 10 or 15 people working on each of these apps in terms of sales, development, we are talking about 2.5 to 3 million people just working on this development alone. Okay? And continuing to run, maintain, plenty of opportunities there. That 3 million is much bigger than the entire IT industry in India put together. The entire IT, ITES, BPO, KPO, whatever flavors that you have, there are only about 2.5 million people. But in the new space, developing applications for smartphones, the number of people working is already outnumbered. They outnumber the people who are working in the enterprise space. So the focus is clearly shifting in terms of trend, ICT or a technology trend, more from an enterprise focus to the consumer or the customer focus. More and more technology applications are developed for direct use by consumers and a lot less by enterprises. That's one broad theme to keep in mind. And then, of course, the next question is, how do we determine where the trend is, where the market is moving, where do I invest, where should I be entrepreneurial, where should I put my skills to work, etc. One simple way of looking at it is follow innovation, follow money, follow the funds. If money is chasing certain things, it's a good idea to go after that space. If there is a lot of innovation in a particular area, good to chase that space. When I talk about innovation, it's a much broader term. For example, in the last 30 years, Wharton Business School, they conduct some surveys. They generally list innovations on over a 30-year period. They said in the last 30 years, there have been 30 broad innovations. And the way they define innovation is something that's new, something new that has created or that will create new opportunities for growth and development. So very, very broad. Examples are they cite email as an innovation, internet as an innovation, biometric identification as an innovation, MRI in the health space as an innovation, radio frequency identification, RFID as an innovation, etc., etc. So there are about 30 that they have listed. And mind you, out of the 30, about 22 or 23 are in the ICT space, communication, information technology space. The remaining 7 or 8 are in the medical space, healthcare devices, etc. Manufacturing, isn't there innovation? Yes, there is innovation that's happening there, but not enough innovation to create new opportunities for growth and development. So why is it that all the fund managers or the funds are chasing the ICT or the healthcare sector? Because that's where the most innovation is happening. That's where new opportunities are created. So one is follow that innovation in the 30 areas. We'll just break it down, or I'll at least tell you where to look for the details. And the second thing that I mentioned was about following funds. Venture capitalists, angel investors, they have a very, very sharp nose. They want to be part of every gold rush that is conceivable, whether it's successful or not. They'll jump head first into those type of opportunities and see if they can make money. Okay. And that's the concept that Tai has been driving. Tai has been saying VCs, people with money, angel investors should chase technology, should chase innovators, should chase entrepreneurs than the other way around that we see mostly here in India, where entrepreneurs have great ideas, but they don't have enough funds to put that idea to implementation or execution. The moment you chase the fund managers who have the money, then they realize that, okay, it's not a great idea. It's like when you want to buy something, if somebody is desperately selling it, you would think twice about it. You know, that's what we do in our profession. If you want to hire somebody, if you advertise and people apply for it, then we know there are a set of people that we hire. But if you truly want talent, we identify them, pick and choose the people, find out where they are, which company they are working, where they are studying, and target them and pick them. That's exactly what fund managers are supposed to do as far as ideas are concerned. And you'll have to ask entrepreneurs, make available your ideas, because innovation is not just about ideas, it's about execution, the money, and of course the benefits that Professor talked about. Unless it delivers benefits, it's not an innovation. So follow where the fund managers are chasing, you will get a good idea, and there is plenty of information that's available. One site that perhaps all of you are familiar with, an example, appbrain.com, that talks about all the type of apps that are available, that are getting developed, that are getting funded, and that has a fantastic, it's a fantastic resource for those of you who are interested in the mobility space. Likewise, many of you, I'm sure, would be familiar with Gartner. Again, a company that's a trade analyst. They have some fantastic people who watch technology trends, who do technology forecasting, and many instances they've been successful, at least in some areas of technology forecasting. So they keep track of huge number of technologies and trends. The last count, I think last year, they are focused exclusively in the ICT space, more focused on IT than the ICT space. Out of the 30 innovations or the 22 innovations that are relevant in this space, they have identified 1,900 technologies and trends. Okay, that's a large number, and they keep track of each and every one of them. There are specialists who keep track of them, and they have all of you again, I'm sure would be familiar with the hype cycle, where there is a technology trigger. I don't remember the terminologies, the hype curve. Initially there is a lot of hype, then there is a disillusionment with the technology, then some of them get dropped out there, then there is a plateau of acceptance, then finally the growth stage happens. out of the 1900 trends, there'll probably be very few which will reach the plateau stage or the growth stage in later years. And they categorize these technologies and trends into very nice, comfortable buckets. Technologies that will be relevant in the next 2 years, in the next 3 to 5 years, beyond 5 years, etc. And that's, again, another fantastic resource where you'll get ideas and look for opportunities if you're looking to begin an entrepreneurial career. Most often people think that it is a flash, it's a great idea that you get and you start working on it. It does happen to people who are very passionate about an idea. But there are people who consistently follow these trends, keep reading, looking for these patterns, looking for these trends. And those are the people who are able to eventually participate in the gold rush than the others. There are other opportunities. One big opportunity which at least I don't keep track of is the alternate energy or the renewable energy. There it's a very, very simple equation. The moment the cost of crude crosses $100, immense activity in that area. A lot of people start investing. All the VCs will start chasing the entrepreneurs. A lot of funding that is available. Again, a clear area where there is a lot of research, broad trends. One is the solar power generation that Ashok Jhunjhunwala talked about. Second one is storage, low-cost batteries, how to make them more efficient. Big funding that's happening in that particular area. And of course, in Tamil Nadu, there we have, some of the numbers you'll realize. Tamil Nadu has the demand for power is something like 13,000 megawatts. The current supply is between 8,500 and 9,000. Okay, so there is a serious shortage that he is referring to. The alternate resources that are available, wind power, Tamil Nadu is the highest generator of wind-based power, solar power, biofuel, etc., is close to about 2,300 to